in thinking about Lake County, one of the things we have to mention is the diversity of soils, because soil is really the basis for flavor for so many things that are grown there, and particularly grapes. I mean, if you look at the Sauvignon Blanc, and we've mentioned that it's sedimentary, close to the lake, heavy clay soils, perfect for pears. And that's another aspect. You know, we see with mixed agriculture, where pears are happy, Sauvignon Blanc's happy. Yeah. And that's a function of the soils that are there. These heavy soils that restrict the growth, but yet at the same time provide plenty of water and aromatics to the product, give these really vibrant flavors. And a lot of heavy soils, tough to walk on in the springtime, but great to grow things on in the summer and the fall.
Exactly. And all of the grapes that we work with from Lake County come from the western side of the lake, close to the town of Kelseyville. But just in this small area, there is such a diversity of soils, and in the water table that the vines are growing on, because the Sauvignon Blanc with the clay soils is closer to the lake, and the lake affects everything.
It's massive. It's the largest lake in California, other than Tahoe on the border with Nevada, but it's such a massive force for the climate there. And I love the fact that we have just within 5 miles the volcanic soils of the Red Hills. And at that point, you have these uplifted basalt-derived mountains that are literally slaking rust, iron, off of the soils and off of the rocks there. And you get these red stained soils with, of all things, obsidian in them, chunks of obsidian the size of this table. Have to be careful where you park the truck, because you can actually drive out of the vineyard and have pieces of obsidian in all your tires. It's terrible, but it's a great soil to grow red grapes in. The exposure and just the presence of the iron in the soil, people think, what does that make for a difference? But the fact that there's iron makes for thicker skins, looser clusters, smaller berries, more intense wines, and it has an interesting effect in lighting as well. We get more absorption of heat into those soils and retention of heat over the course of the day, which the red varieties like, but the white varieties don't. Right. And we have a transition as well in between the two.
So when you get to the Kelsey bench, it's like you've taken all of the soils and mixed them all up really close to each other, so that you can walk very quickly from one soil type to another to another. And one of your best indications before you even start looking at the soil of what type of soil you have is, as David mentioned in the Kelsey bench, looking to see where the pears are and where the walnuts are. Because walnut signal, it's going to be great ground for Cabernet and for other red varieties. And the pears always point you towards Sauvignon Blanc.
That alluvial bench, though, is really intriguing to me. I think that's where we get the wines with the most finesse and character, because we have enough warmth to ripen the red grapes, but yet still the wind passage there. Sometimes we'll get the cooler influence from the lake there as well. We'll get more length on the palate, elegance, layers of flavor, perfume, just complexity on the palate, which makes it, I think, the most compelling place to grow red grapes in the county. For folks who like powerful red wines, I think Red Hills is, you can't beat that, but I always like finesse, and complexity.